what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy that. Harold Perkins, back in the news, as Brian Kelly, speaking with, I believe, the Advocate, said that Harold Perkins is moving back to inside linebacker. And where that gets interesting is he only played one game there, right? Like he ended up, remember, he played Florida State on the inside. It went awfully. And then in another just hilarious, what in the hell were we doing during all of camp moment, they were like, no, we don't like it. And they just moved him to like Nickel Sam out of nowhere. That again is what Brian Kelly must get fixed, maybe more so than anything else this year, is evaluating the team more accurately during camp and not having just these like shocking wholesale changes take place afterwards. But here's what I would say. This is my initial reaction to Harold Perkins being back to the inside, and I don't want to be too reductive, but I'm fully about this simply because of Blake Baker. Like, I was someone who was not about it at all last offseason. I said, why are you taking this guy who's so impactful off the edge, your best pass rusher? Why are you doing a square peg, round hole sort of deal? But what do I always say when it comes to coaching? Well, the ultimate thing you want as a player, your relationship with the coach is, if I do what you're telling me to do, even if it sounds crazy to me, are you putting me in the best position to succeed? And when you look at what Blake Baker has done in his past, taking Damone Clark, who looked like one of the worst linebackers I've ever seen in my entire life, and then a year later was the nation's second leading tackler. Who's old boy from Mizzou? That's been a Buck Kiss finalist last year. In 2 years, Blake Baker. Tyron Hopper. Blake Baker
coming from Florida, yeah.
Yes, Blake Baker made him into a Buck Kiss finalist in 2 years at Mizzou. So, like, he has these skins on a wall. And if you look at the type of defense in which Baker runs, it is a hyper-aggressive defense. Meaning this will not be Harold Perkins stuck in the inside and mainly dropping into zone coverage. Like, I believe that he will still be fully utilized in dangerous ways and mismatches will be created. So, again, I don't want to be too reductive, but I'm okay with this because of the man who will be the architect of the design and because of what he's done in his past.
So, like, where you put Harold Perkins is always going to be an interesting conversation. I think the last place that you would put him is where he ended up last year. He's not going to line up on the edge and be an edge defender. Like, that's not what his frame tells you he can do. Now, he can do things on the edge, and certainly I would assume he's going to do those things. But we talked about, playing stack backer and the things that he had to do last year, and we didn't know, like, because we never saw it. We saw it for like one game, and then it was kind of all over the place, and then it was kind of guessing what position he was going to play that week. And so I think even for him and his growth and development, hey, here's what you are in our defense. Here's who you're going to be. You're going to be that game 1. You're going to be that game 10. Because, like, I can't imagine for him, like, he burst onto the scene as this edge rusher that nobody could block. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, hey, we need you at stack backer. But then, like, quickly we're going to move you to nickel Sam because we like your coverage skills. Like, where's his headspace at when he's moving all those different places as well? Because he doesn't feel like he can give the respect to one position that it deserves. And that can be very difficult. So, like, the entire offseason, like, my only hope is that Blake Baker and the defensive staff's like, here's who you're going to be for us. Let's hone in on that. Let's make you what we did for those other linebackers that you're talking about.
Well, I would say that there's a Brian Kelly quote that should make you feel very good then when he says, quote, "We can lock him into some specific things that will allow him to play really fast. The key is he's got to play fast. He's got to be able to utilize his talents. And so we've got to be able to help him out with that." So that is exactly what you were just talking about, right? They have to take out overthinking.
You played multiple positions. I had to play multiple positions.
But I practiced them, so I knew what I was doing. Like, I would go 2 plays left guard, 2 plays center, 2 plays right guard, 2 plays out.
And you knew what you were doing. But imagine if you could have just been a center.
No, that would have been awesome. Oh, no, that would have been great. And to be fair, the first time I ever played a game at guard, I had never actually played it before. It's just on the first play of the game, our right guard broke his leg, and I just got thrust in there. But after that, I started to really cross-trained at all of them. But yeah, no, it would have been awesome to just be center the whole time.
Yeah, it would have
been much more desirable.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
and sometimes the coaches will teach you, like if T's playing center or guard, like they'll teach him center, but they're not going to teach him guard. He's just got to pay attention.
Like I said, I never knew it when I went in that first game.
When he's talking to Will, like you got to listen. That's how I learned running back.
Yeah,
like I was a fullback, and so fullback, would be discussed, and then they move on to running back. And Dooley wasn't like, "Hey, Hester, running back." No, it's like, I'm going to coach Joseph Fadai, and you better listen because you're going to play, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. So it does slow you down a little bit.
And so, again, look, yes, you have to get Harold Perkins to play fast. Even last year, fighting through all this madness, he was still the only defender that flashed. Like, he still had an impressive numbers of tiffles and sacks for any like kind of regular person, right? But we know Harold Perkins is extra normal. And one of the other things that Brian Kelly talked about, I think, should hearten you if you're someone who, like me, never really understand moving Perkins to the inside to begin with, is that he said this comes to the article, Baker's not expected to run what Kelly called, quote, a bend but don't break defense that LSU used last year. I mean, yeah, that's how bad it was last year. You were literally cognizant, like you were going into the game being like, okay, we got to bend but don't break. I don't want that.
No.
You want to dictate, right? And that's what Blake Baker does. I mean, Mizzou finished top 20 nationally in sacks. They finished top 20 nationally in tackles for loss. Like I look at like how a Demario Davis is used rushing the passer with the Saints on Sunday. You could do similar things with Harold Perkins on the inside on Saturday. And so if I've been against the move in the past, I've said what I've said, and maybe I'm guilty of being a prisoner of the moment, but I think Blake Baker is what makes this work. And Blake Baker is why now I support whatever he wants to do with Harold Perkins, because Blake Baker has proven to be one of the better defensive minds in all of college football over the past couple of years.
I still would expect him to, on third downs, be somewhere different.
Yeah, you can move him wherever you want.
Like that's
for sure.
Yeah, but if you're concentrating on, hey, the first couple of downs in the series, like this is where you're going to be, and you could still move. Like, because when he moves to edge, it's like, hey, get after the quarterback. But when you start talking about playing nickel Sam, well, then you're in the coverage.
Yeah.
And you got to know the coverages, and you got to know a lot of different stuff compared to playing stack linebacker. Now, you have to know coverages at stack linebacker, but it's just a completely different set of things that you're worried about. So he's never going to just be an edge rusher. That's just not what he is. He can't be one on third down, sub downs, and we've seen multiple guys be able to thrive there. So find the position, develop him in that position. Blake's done a great job of players that you've mentioned, and then you can move forward with him and have him play much faster.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.